diving in here to what we're about to launch on YouTube. So we are in the few days right before the full moon that's happening in Pisces this Sunday. And I'm going to dive into, in this episode, the definite new, well, you could say new paradigm that's right in front of our face. There's a new paradigm right in front of our face as we let go of the old paradigm. And that transition really is the essence of being in alignment with who you really are. And exactly, hold on. Being in alignment with who you really are. And of course, as we like to say, knowing what you are and where you are as well, as that has a factor, right? We live on a planet in deep space, but not to get sidetracked by that, because I know our earthly experience is very much about what's manifesting right in front of our face. Good morning. And so let's dive into, in this episode, of really feeling into the challenges and the opportunity of going within as we approach this full moon, again, that's in Pisces, happening this Sunday. So I just want to kick it off right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Shift Crew, Empath Nation, to the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And, may I be here to be your ally and friend and tribe member to serve you well in these moments, mere moments before we actualize the next stage of humanity as we shift into new Earth. We can often ask that question, well, when's it going to happen? When's the Aquarian age going to happen? When's the sixth sun going to happen? When's the new age going to be here? And really, the one determining factor is that it's up to you. We live, maybe it doesn't always look like we live in a compassionate universe. It looks like a very Wild West, rough and tumble, sometimes chaotic looking experience. But definitely, I think consciousness, since you are consciousness, and consciousness has a lot of care and love for itself, I think the timing of when we arrive at any of these new elevated states, of course, for the most part, is in your control. Now, there may be a moment in time when, in the next few years, there's a lot of interesting metaphors and realizations around 2020, which also is a metaphor for, or another way to say clear vision. You have 2020 vision. I think 2021, a lot of people believe things are going to go down. And I think even just going forward, 2023, 2026. So you could say, okay, those are some group held beliefs around the timing of when things are going to happen astrologically and in a solar fashion. But are you ready to meet those deadlines in the astrological sand? But really, there's some themes that are consistent right now. There's some themes that are happening with this full moon, and I want to dive into them because I myself can feel very tender right now. I can feel that the space that's happening it's really sensitive. It's a very sensitive space, and we're transitioning from all the signs and the metaphors and the themes of the Aquarian age and the sixth sun is that we're transitioning from a hyper externalized culture to one that contemplates the inside first, the internal first. That also has its metaphors. Hey, Miranda, good morning. White Feather Store. That transition also has its analogies and parallels to the fact that as we shift culturally from a hyper externalized, culture where materialism represents who you are, and we're switching to the internal where who you are is who you choose to be, That is a switching from being hyper external masculine to a more balanced, I don't know if it's going to swing hyper internalized feminine, because really I'd like to see an age where we're really in balance with those two energies. But I realize as the feminine is coming back on board, there are moments of intensity, right? There are those moments of intensity where we realize, oh, we've got this highly intuitive, highly connected, divine feminine within us. And, there can be moments where when it comes back online, for no matter what your gender, it can be shocking. The shock D has a little bit of a shock factor when it comes back online. When something, about ourselves is revealed, it can throw us off, right? It can be disconcerting. It can be upsetting when we have a part of us that we've forgotten, but now becomes remembered. And, if we're following, if we're heavy into doing the work and into transformation, then that's not just an idea. Like, transformation really, really does occur. And as people who are waking up to the natural systems of energy that are all around us on this kind of quantum level and on the archetypal level and on the elemental level, having contact can be shocking, because it's kind of like it's jumping into some cold water for the first time. But we hope over time, right, we get used to it. And so there are there's these moments of birth. I mean, we could say birth is beautiful, but birth is also shocking, right? It's a shocking transition, but we do normalize. And so may we be able to have in our lives a way to, some sort of rock, maybe some sort of internal rock we can hold on to, some sort of like indestructible part of our nature that we can reside in as these transitions happen. And that's when I actually look to Buddhism for that level of faith, because a transition is a transition. I mean, you might be completely transformed. You can't bring anything of the old with you. But in Buddhism, they do have, the understandings of our diamond nature, or they talk about a lot of diamond stuff, and they talk a lot about this metal called adamantine or adamantine as a essential nature to our, you could say, soul. And that diamond-like quality is unbreakable, or the adamantine metal is unbreakable. It's the rock of who you really are, before all externalized chaos and transitions. So I'm reminding myself in this intense energy of this full moon, which is a deep, deep Pisces full moon that's saying, go within. If, go within. There it says on the back wall, go within for the new direction. And it turns out there's not just one direction that's being given to us right now. We are at the precipice of realizing that there are infinite directions. There are infinite paths that you can take in your life. There's not just one way. Now, yes, there are the spiritual laws. There is the master container of consciousness and the materialized universe that holds you. But within that sacred structure, there's infinite ways to walk your road, whatever that's going to be. And so as we're shifting from the externalized, where as a human, we've been checking in with the group, whether we liked the group or we don't like the group. And the group happens on multiple levels for us. The group happens on the level of society. And definitely, we're like, a lot of people are like, no, I'm done with that. Okay, that's the easy one to get rid of. I'm no longer walking a road, walking a path with the way it's been done, the way it's been shown to us. But of course, in our more intimate circles, We're shaking up those pathways. What does partnership look like? What does our friends look like? What does our work look like? And those things are getting shaken up. So that we can find our heart, really, so that we can find the love. That's really what we're after. We want to find what we love again. We want to, this is like, I'm done looking for love in all the wrong places. And we've got to do that. I've got to find the love. We've got to find the love within ourselves. Not that makes you some sort of lone wolf renegade, right? That's not what we're talking about. But really, when you're seeking, because the opportunity is now, like, it's like the weather has changed. And now the weather is optimal, conducive, good for creating the life that you really want. But here's the trick with that. If you're no longer referencing what came before you, and you are actualizing that infinity is the all you can eat psychic buffet that you can order from, that can be scary. That can be intense. That can be overwhelming in a sense. Because, wait, how do I know if it's good if it's never been experienced before? How do I know it's safe if it's never been talked about in our culture? And so there's a great amount of bravery that's needing to be cultivated right now for you to find your diamond nature, find your rock of love within you that's indestructible, but also realize that what will you contemplate? What will you align yourself with? Because you're going to create it. You're going to live it. And so going within is truly the message right now. Go within and examine what's true to your heart and what do you want to manifest. And what's very interesting to notice when you do that work of going within to focus upon what you want next in your career or next in your love, for myself, I'm immediately shown where I'm encoding my future with limitations based in agreements to the past. And the moment we're living in right now is that the past, I mean, we always say, right, the past is the past unless it's being held within you energetically as something that needs to be healed. But the past is truly becoming the past. You are no longer who you were. And so when we clean, especially when you clean the house of all the previous agreements, what you want can come to you in any sort of number of ways, but also what you want doesn't have to fit in. I think that's definitely the root that I'm trying to get to here in sharing with you the infinite possibility before us. What you want doesn't have to look like what anybody else wants. So, I was going off about the dumb, numb masculine on Wednesday, and how the status symbol for the dumb and numb masculine is the fancy car. Like, oh, you got the fancy car. That means you really made it. Oh, you got the supermodel. Oh, you really made it. Oh, you got the big house. Oh, you're really the man. You're really the man. That masculinity is dead. Ain't got nothing to do with the goddess. Ain't got nothing to do with nurturance. Ain't got nothing to do with true power. That's some material plane shit that's over. Because what's the value in that, right? So as our roles are up for redefinition, if you're a man or a woman, a husband, a wife, a lover, someone who works at a career, like all of these definitions are gone. They're truly gone if we want them to be, because we live in this miracle moment where when you tap into who you really are beyond all reference points to culture, to the now as it is, and really go within and trust that impulse of truth within you, then what you bring forth, if you totally stay with it, is going to be radical compared to what exists now. And trust me, radical has a home. Diversity has a home. True diverse creation, as you as the creator, has a home. So this is really examining, what is your mindset? What are you focusing upon within you to manifest? And does that manifestation reference the known world that you're actually trying to escape? Does what you want in your heart reference something you don't like? That's the trickiest, deepest part of our creation, manifestation powers we have to look at, is does what you truly want reference something you don't want? Or does it reference a way of doing it that's actually going to limit you? So in my focused, manifestations right now, I witness how much my mind, my identity wants to know how it's going to happen. Or it starts to get into like problem solving mode. And it's like, how are you going to make this happen? How will it occur sequentially or with technique or with skill? And it's like, we've got to drop that obsession. We've got to drop the obsession of knowing how, because as we're continually underlining, it's the universe has your back model of existing. It's the reliance upon your subconscious, which is 95% of not just your mind, but it's 95% of your energetic being is the unseen, right? And so we're creating a sacred relationship between the seen and the unseen, and trusting that the unseen has our back. That's a really good place to be. We have got to start creating a good relationship internally, eternally, with trusting that the unseen has our back, and giving respect to the unseen, that not only does it have, it's more powerful than our conscious mind, which is only 5%. The visible world is only 5%. And I've heard actually in certain Vedic Indian traditions, you could take all the known universes, galaxy upon galaxy upon galaxy, and they too have that same reference from, when was the Vedas written? Like 5,000 years ago? They have that same reference. Thank you, Prabhupatings. They have that reference that the known universes is only like 5%. It's only 5%, and it's really that 95% of the unseen, which is also part of us and has our back. So how do we get into, and may we get into that, trusting that your conscious mind is like the rider on the horse. You trust, you don't have to be the power of the horse. You just have to guide the power of the horse. And not only are you guiding the power of the horse of the universe right now that will manifest what you want, we're at that important moment of focus, of going within and saying, this can look like anything I want it to be. That when I focus upon creating what's next for me through my heart and with the backing of that universe, it can look like anything I want it to be. It no longer has to reference the values of a world that's quickly going away. It's almost like we've been really living in that kind of monoculture, right? Of like, success only looks like this. Relationships only look like this. Health only looks like this. And so again, bravery is being asked of you right now. You're going to have to be brave in facing the infinite, but also finding a lot of relief because the infinite is ready to align with your heart. But you've got to know what that is. You've got to know what you love, especially when what you love, like I'm drilling it down, It doesn't have to look at anybody for reference. That requires some super bravery on your part. And just the way we earn our living right now, we earn our life. It's how we make our connections, how we work in the world. There's a lot of even in the spiritual, Instagram game, there's a lot of people just kind of laying down the same rules of how you become successful. There's so much obsession right now of how to become successful on Instagram, how to become a successful YouTuber, how to do this successfully. It's like external. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of untruth. It's a lot of wearing a mask and then hoping, that you fit in. We've got to drop this weird desire to fit in when it's not your truth. And to trust that, yes, we're here to connect with people. We're here to build tribe. And I'm so grateful to have these moments with you because I hope we're tribe. I need a tribe. You need a tribe. So I love that we spend time together being tribe. And I have your back, and I hope you have my back as we create this new foundation for the infinite love to thrive. So really, we get back to the basic questions. What feels good? What feels good? This isn't a mystery. There's no mystery here. What feels good? What feels good to you as you no longer look to the external for validation around that? I was watching Kai Pacha, and he was really referencing, as we're leading up to this full moon on Sunday in Pisces, it's deep spiritual cleansing time. He called it soul house cleaning. And again, I've been using that Toltec oracle that in the Tonopawali, there's the house. It's number 3, I think. Kali. Kali means house. And so again, we're setting the vibration of the house. But first we got to clean what's inside the house, and then we can reconfigure the vibration of the house, right? Because a house has the root in the term kal, which means bowl, right? So what is the food? What's going to be placed in the bowl of your house or come into your house? So first we clean it of everything that we've been engaged within it before. And then we say, what is the vibration now of the house? And now what will come into that house now that we've set the new cleaned it and set the new vibration? And there was a subtle thing that was on my mind about that. Hopefully it'll come back. But again, that takes bravery to do that psychic cleansing, because it can be freaky, right? Where is the ground? Well, may we find her, the Mother Earth, to be our ground right now as we do this super, super cleansing of all that has come before us. And yes, again, letting go of the how is also letting go of what you know, and which means acknowledging that you have limited knowledge. Often when I'm looking at my how, like I said, I'm like, I know what I want, or I'm getting better at practicing. This is why you have to do it multiple times a day. Really just being in that space of feeling your way to joy, feeling your way to happiness, and what it looks like. Creating those pictures, and then creating vision boards and mood boards around that vision. But I'm noticing, right? Again, it's like you've got to even just get into practice of giving yourself permission to feel the excitement, to feel the joy, to feel the thrill of being in alignment with what you want to experience. That itself is a practice, because I notice where, life has beaten us down. Life has really served us strong amounts of contrast that have maybe caused us to doubt at certain times that, oh, maybe I don't deserve that. Or maybe that only certain other people get that and I don't get that. So we really have to clean that out. We have to clean it out because, of course, that's not true. Yes, you have experienced contrast and situations that were tough and maybe situations that didn't give you what you wanted, but it did. At the end result of any bad situation or harsh situation, it gave you contrast. It gave you contrast. It told you, oh, this is what it's like to experience what I don't want. Let me get the wisdom out of what that agreement was. But then let me take, that should sharpen, now that I know what I don't want really, really clearly, it should absolutely sharpen what I do want, and to get into that space of ease and grace and again, building the momentum within your mental thinking, your habitual thinking, to default habitually to thinking in a way that is feeding you joyous, good feeling, positive thoughts of your new direction. And that you have to get out of your own way, because the universe, that 95%, is really funny, really ingenious, and can operate on a level that your consciousness is not designed for, but it has your back. So your job is to really say, 95% universe, go this way, because it only knows yes. Go this way and surprise me, delight me. I'm out of my own way. Surprise me and delight me as to how you're going to do it. I don't know how you're going to do it. This is the fun part. This is the relationship that we're in. I do my part, which is say, go in this direction, and it's going to feel awesome. And then you do your part, universe, and I'm along for the hilarious ride that it's going to take. You know, always being aware and of when to take inspired action, of when to take action that is in alignment only. So can you imagine getting into that state in your life where the only actions you take are ones that are in alignment with what you have focused upon, and that's it. You're not taking any of your energy and allowing any of your energy to be siphoned away by agreements that you had in the first place. And I think that's where I was getting to. The subtle part of this is everything is an agreement. The whole entire existence is multiple levels of micro agreements. And when you start examining that, okay, so if everything I'm experiencing, from the big stuff to the little stuff, is a series of micro agreements built upon micro agreements, if you start liquidating all those agreements, you start getting into a lot of fluidity. You know, a lot of like, oh, who is the one that chooses anything at all? And that can be a pretty trippy state to get to, because we're not used to it. We're not used to realizing the fluidity and the currency of the materialized universe. But I believe over time, we can get used to this level of a high state of fluidity. And again, of course, it's going to be trippy at first because we're not used to this. We're used to the material realm, and our bodies, you know, are pretty stiff in certain ways. You know, our bodies are not used to that level of fluid experience, that fluid energetic, you know, beingness, because we have been conditioned for millions of years to be in a fight or flight mode, right? We're highly designed for protection. we're highly designed for staying safe. And that has its benefits, right? It has its benefits. But we need to examine what is the parts of me that I can slowly unagree to so that I have more abundant energy to choose new things. Yeah. And so I think we sit in this moment in the world where look at the radical shift that the outer world's going to have when we no longer agree to the way it's been done. And there's a great term, cosmopolitan. I love reclaiming this word right now, cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan. So you ever heard of that phrase, to be cosmopolitan? Well, it turns out politan has the Latin root of politan means polis, which means city or place of dwelling, polis. Cosmo means cosmos, right? So to be cosmopolitan is to reside, to make the cosmos of nature your main domain. The true city that we all live in, whether you live in Paris, Los Angeles, Sedona, wherever, whatever city you live on the earth, and then the earth lives within the cosmos. So by default, and if you want to get your new address, it's the one in the cosmos. You're cosmopolitan. That is your true home. That is your true home no matter where you are. And so there's something weird about the cities because cities are designed to block out the light of the stars. There's so much mental activity that keeps you from where you really are, which is nature. So here we are living. We are all cosmopolitan. Our true home is the cosmos, and you're already there. There's nothing you have to do to achieve that. It's really about how you reset your focus. And again, we are at that moment in time where the external is being let go of. All the value systems of the external. How does it look? How do I look? Am I approved of by these old rules? We're letting go of all that so that we can know our true hearts, find our true love, and manifest from there. So that is what's in my notes. I want to hear from you. How are you feeling? As we hop on over to this full moon on Sunday, I'm glad to be tribe with you. I'm glad to have this moment with you. And as you all have been on the bleeding edge, I'm just going to pick a card from the Toltec Oracle. But if anybody has any questions, I'd love to take them now and see how you're feeling. Again, this is really about practicality. You know, I feel like that's why we have to find that sacred ground within us, that adamantian nature, the diamond nature of our existence, because the ground is shifting. The ground is shifting, and are we going to be okay? Are we going to make it to the other side when there's radical transformation at hand? I mean, I honestly feel within the next week, I can feel it. Like, I feel like for myself, I'm choosing at least, like within the next week, there's going to be a whole new economic model of how we do our business in the world. I'm at least choosing that for myself. I'm choosing a whole brand new economic model because keeping up with the way it is doesn't feel good to me. You know, keeping up with business as usual is highly unusual. So let's pick a group card from the Oracle. I'm just shuffling them right now. As I'm feeling what is the energy of this full moon that we're going to dive into, these transformations of where we're no longer externally looking to the outward world for values, and we're really diving into infinite creation, infinite diversity, infinite possibility within us. It's really going to look like this. So let's cut the deck. I shuffle, and then I cut these decks into 4 piles. And then I pick from one of the 4. And typically one always show up. Okay, Atal, water. I can feel like this one. I think this one is already saying go with the flow. Go with the flow. But let's check out number 9, Atal. Number 9 is always a very powerful number because 9 being transformation and birth. But let's look up number 9, Atal. Almost there. Okay. So the quick meaning, the general meaning, as a nurturing power, Atal is the placenta that envelops, protects, and nourishes. It represents the place and the time when the new being is evolving, getting ready to come into the world for the first time. What have we just been talking about this whole time? Finding that kind of safe place. So maybe, if we look to nature, maybe that safe place is the womb. The safe place is with the mother, right? To recognize, we're both tender right now, but we're also protected. She's got us. So let's go into the placenta, and because not only does it protects us, it surrounds us, it protects us, and it nourishes us. So I can feel like I need a little nourishment right now myself, actually, in this transition, this tender transition. It represents the place and time when the new being is evolving, getting ready to come into the world for the first time. And I would say definitely that is like on fire. Who's coming into the world for the first time? The authentic you. The new rebirthed you who no longer references the old or the external for what is true for you. You're coming into the world for the first time. You've been doing a great job so far, I know, because I'm hanging out with shamans and artists and very unique people who express themselves from their heart. Look how well we're practiced in that. But now, taking it to that level where we're truly manifesting our dreams, truly manifesting them on a scale that we walk within, not just simple little manifestations, but like a whole realms of existence. This metaphor of the pregnancy process illuminates how every new dream or project is realized. It should be embraced, cared for, nurtured, and brought into the world at the proper time. Like the water that is the source of life, you are being called to embrace something that is coming to exist for the first time. I don't know, this is so on fire. Just like her, you are the sacred container of a new expression of life energy that comes after a gestation period. Be aware, be ready, be generous in your nurturing of what is coming. It is already within you, whether you are aware of it or not. But hey, you're part of the Obsidian Blade crew, so you're very aware of what you're doing. You have to be. You're at the driver's seat. You're the captain. You're the pilot. You're the queen. You're the king. You're the rider of your great horse of manifesting majestic power. So you're aware. Getting the Atal card may also announce the need for a process of cleansing whatever is blocking the natural flow of energy in your own life. In both the inner and external world, what you experience as problems and hard times are basically the manifestation of an interruption in the natural flow of energy in some area of your life. What the Atal card is telling you is that some specific situation in your life or in your soul needs to be cleansed to remove whatever is blocking the energy so that life can flow naturally. This is so on fire. Even though we're talking about water. I love what we were just saying there. When we experience something that we've manifested that's annoying or it's interrupting, it's not that you're a bad person or you did it wrong. It's there to draw your attention to it. So that's like, let reality be your friendly guide. Let the previous manifestations be your teacher and guide to point you in the direction as to where you're misaligned with yourself. So everything is really for your benefit in that sort of mindset. The hard stuff has been for your benefit if you take the insight and the wisdom that it's showing you to lead you back to what feels good. So you may be in a crucial point in your life in need of that cleansing. But because of a limited awareness of what's really going on, you may be resisting the process, which will bring you more pain. It truly will. Beware of making that mistake. What you need to do is the opposite. Embrace the process of cleansing that your soul or your life needs. Yeah, it's time to embrace it and to switch up any sort of parts of your routine right now that are not giving you enough time to do that. It's important to give yourself this time because it is the time. The astrology is so on point right now for this massive breakthrough. And look, the breakthrough is gonna match how much you put in right now. It's gonna be a one-to-one relationship. And so I'm encouraging you, as I'm encouraging myself, to go big, but also go really large on being sensitive and caring for yourself right now. To really perhaps, spend this weekend going within in a gentle way, or creating more space and time to go within that gentle way. And like the card was just saying, to feel protected in your embryonic state, right? You're sensitive, you're growing, you're aligning within the womb in the embryonic state, and you're being nourished from that internal safe space. So really, I think that's a good visual metaphor to hold this weekend as we approach this powerful new moon or full moon in Pisces, is really to be in the embryo of the mother. Be within the mother's womb right now, and know that you're protected and that you're nourished, and that sacred space is being asked of you to be within right now, so that you can go within to align with what's really real in your heart, and in that process you let go of any references to the old way it was done on the external world. The externalized culture, so you can really be true to who you are, because this is the only thing that matters. It's not about pleasing the old paradigm that's going away. Stop trying to compete in a world that is falling apart. Especially when this planet is asking you to align with what's really true for you, because you're going to not only show the way for yourself, you're going to show the way for others. And that is the essence of the leadership that's being asked of us, the Shift crew, the Empath Nation, the cutting edge people who know that you have influence, true influence. Forget Instagram numbers influence. The real influence, okay? The influence of you as a leader who knows how to lead because you've led yourself back to your own heart and then manifested a life that is only in alignment with your heart. Show that to others. Be that for yourself first, and then show that to others. And then look at the change that will happen. Not a change that encourages people to look like you, but a change that encourages others to look like their true selves. And then we're all living on a truly diverse planet at that point, in alignment with life, being very cosmopolitan. We're all geniuses. Yes, we are, Jojo. We are all geniuses, which means to let the genie out of the bottle, right? And to have that sacred collaboration with the universe, with you being the conductor, conducting your life as a cosmopolitan with their new address. The galaxy is your new address. The cosmos is your new address. So may you address your inner nation and announce your proclamation of sacred alignment with your heart and really, conducting from your heart, conducting the orchestra of the cosmos from your heart. And that means feeling. What does that mean? It means feeling, and getting into this powerful mechanism right here in our chest. Not just feeling in love, but letting it actually be a vortex. Letting this vortex grow and shape reality. When you step into it, I've started to step into it myself, and I'm like, just let this vortex start moving and spinning and just like operating from this space. It's very physical. It's very tangible. And it's like, it's different to lead from the heart, We're not bashing the mind, the mind has its place, but leading from the heart, it's going to have dramatic effects. Actually, there's that institute, the Heart Math Institute. They did, I think it's EEG readings, electromagnetic readings, if I get that correct. And so they actually just, they read the energy field of the mind compared to the heart. And the heart is something like the EEG reading of the heart is like 5 to 10,000 times more magnetically, energetically powerful than the mind. It puts out a field of energy 10,000 times stronger than the mind itself. So it's almost like the mind is there to nudge things into place. Like just, yeah, that's good. And then let the show take over. Let the heart take over, Loving you so much. Any questions? What are you feeling? Again, my encouragement is go within this weekend and really make those sacred moments happen for you, where we find what is true for ourselves. And I'm going to switch it up. I think next week I'm hopping in the car and going to Sedona for a week. So I will be doing the lives. I don't know if I'm going to do them on YouTube, but I'll definitely be doing the live check-ins on the phone. But I will be doing it from Sedona. And so I'll switch up my scene. I'm feeling really called to be there for next week, to be in that sacred space of that powerful formation of landscape. And I love all of you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, ciao for now.